Alright, so I did a video yesterday giving the spells, the texts for all these parts of Afro-Eurasia in the ancient Egyptian Book of Two Ways, version B5C. So there's like Siberia, Japan, China, Korea, Southeast Asia, mainland Southeast Asia, Indonesia, India, and Singapore. So I gave all the spells and texts through, I think through here. But anyway, I didn't finish all the way, so I'm going to start now from this side. And this seems to be Britain. So, like basically this little guy is Britain, and he's holding Ireland, I believe. His wand or something is Ireland. And these are the three island groups, I think: the Shetlands, the Shetland Islands, the Orkney Islands, and the Hebrides. All basically Scottish islands that all pose a impediment to sailors, because this is all about sailors. And these are the Pillars of Hercules, Gibraltar, and Almina. I'm not sure if I have any comparisons for this stuff. I have like the other ones here that's showing, I think all of this is right except for this one, I think is actually this thing here. So these are the ones I already gave. And I'm not really sure if I have other. This is another version, B1C, that shows the America here and all the different gatekeepers like Newfoundland and Baja California and Alaskan Peninsula and Baffin Island. So it's the gatekeepers are all the things along the coast generally that like block the coast. So this is the Pillars of Hercules. This is Gibraltar in Spain, but owned by Britain. This is Almina in Morocco, but owned by Spain. So you can see how obsessed modern people still are of controlling the gatekeepers. He who controls the gatekeepers controls the universe. All right, so I can't find one specifically comparing Britain, but can at least get kind of a sense of it there. Wow, that's funny. All right, so we'll start with Britain. And by Britain, I mean the original, in the original sense, not just meaning England and Scotland, but the Britannic Isles, the British Isles, as they were described by the Romans, Britannia. So this is addressed to Britain, I think. Let me make sure. Just get rid of all these things that are not very good photos anyway. Turn it back to this. All right, so yeah, 1145 here. There's another one, 1146, which has no illustration for it, and I'm not sure exactly what it represents, so that's why I'm starting with this, since it's next to a designated gatekeeper. And this is potentially the beginning of the Book of Two Ways. Even though Lesko, who compiled this reconstruction and put these numbers, he reads it from, you know, from here to here to here to here. But I think it may be more likely that it's actually should be read, if any direction at all, it should be read this way, because this is the usual way that text is read in ancient Egyptian, is right to left. But it also might not matter which way the text is read. It might be, because it's a map, you know, you don't read a map from north to south. You just read whatever part of the map you need to read. So if you want to know about Siberia, you read this part. If you want to learn about Malaysia, you read this part. So, but anyway, so here's 1145 for Britain. The spell, the accompanying spell is the protectors whom he knows, the warrior who guards him in the midst of his shrine, O gray-haired one who hears the sistrum player. So I'm pretty sure gray-haired one is from the White Cliffs of Dover, and I'm not sure if it's literally translated gray-haired or maybe white-haired, but it could be either one, because the White Cliffs of Dover also have bits of black in them, so it is kind of a black and white Cliffs of Dover. Due to the chalk. It's like when Britain was broken off from mainland Europe, the chalk in the stone was like exposed, making the white part, but then there's another part that's black that makes like black lines through it. So Britain has always been like known as this, like the White Isle, or some variation on that, like Albion, which is another name that the Romans called Britain, maybe, you know, based on the Latin word for white. I'm not sure exactly, but it's some variation on that. Basically means white in Latin, like albino. Here's the sistrum player. So the sistrum player is Hathor. So maybe that suggests that Hathor is associated somehow with the region around Britain. O physicians, protect me every day from those whose names are unknown. So those names who are unknown might refer to all the little islands of Shetland, Orkney, and the Hebrides, because there's so many little islands that they can't really all be easily identified. So it's just like, good luck. O you four gods whom the goddess, the mistress, bore. So that's probably Hathor, I guess. The one who comes opposed to me is the destroyer, and I cause him to know that I am the one who has borne you. O unique one, I pass by in order to satisfy the heart of the trap maker, that you may trap the shining day. So it may be that the idea that these gatekeepers that trap mariners also trap the sun, and that the sun, since it sets in the west, and in summer it sets in the northwest, maybe the idea that it sets in Britain. I'm not really sure. Trap the shining day. The fingers in front of him, as well as his hand, are what blind. Rise up, O Heliopolitan of the desert. I am the one who rose you again in accordance with your desire, after he, Apophis, has shot at you. So Apophis is like the snake that threatens Re, the sun god. Your heart was taken by Shu. Shu is like the air god. That's basically like Atlas. He holds up the heavens. And he might also be a planet. I was excellent when I passed by in your peace. Your power was divided by the angry of mouth, and your striking force was extinguished by those who are in front of Shu and authoritative utterance. Authoritative utterance might be Heka. I'm not sure. I don't know. Who raise an uproar in noon. I am the powerful one, the aggressor. This is your shrine. I am your mighty one. Make way for me. I am a justified one who follows the bloody one. I am a man of stature who will not be seen by those around him. Who shoots arrows. Your voice was extinguished by those of Osiris. Swallow after you have chewed this muscle of your flesh, which is in the midst of the escaper. If you come against me, and if an arrow comes passing by and stretching out behind me, then Apophis, under whom the whole coils, will offer to him. I am the one who will speak. Then Isis the Great, whose house is under her, will offer to him. You are the one who speaks against me. All right, so a lot of that is pretty difficult to figure out other than the gray-haired one makes sense as being Britain. The White Cliffs of Dover, the Gray Cliffs of Dover. Okay, so I guess we're still going... Oh, wait, no, because this goes the other way. So... Oh, wait, maybe it is still going, yeah. 1145. This great baboon who is among the gods will offer to me, the one under him, with a crane and sutet bird. May you fall on your face, depart, the god, the lord of the red mansion which is in the horizon, comes peacefully. I am myself. I pass your trembler when Ray shines peacefully. So the reference to the horizon may be related to Britain being kind of the furthest west, or one of the furthest west type of things. I mean, it's not really the furthest west. Portugal, I think, is further, and so is like westernmost Africa. It's probably the furthest west. All right, so that's, then it goes to 1146. So it's talking about the year and the seasons. So all of this is a map and a calendar, because I think it refers to the seasons and like maybe the tilting of the earth, and you know, that's part of what I think this Book of Two Ways is referencing. All right, so that was 45. So 44. Okay. 44 is the Rock of Gibraltar, which is owned by Britain. And where you at, man? All right, here. So yeah, right here is Rock of Gibraltar. Here's Britain, Ireland, and Shetland, Orkneys, and Hebrides. And then they also own this, which shows like the same people who are control one gatekeeper, they also are going to want to control the other ones. And arguably they control all of these. I mean, Britain, you know, controls a lot. They probably control like, they probably have a lot of influence on Singapore over there. and on Japan. I think they had a lot of the formative influence, outside influence on Japan. But anyway, so here's Gibraltar, the Rock of Gibraltar, and so yeah, it's here, right here, coming off of Spain, near Antequera, or maybe in Antequera, I don't know. And this is one of the last homes of the pure Neanderthals, like 30,000 years ago, which suggests that they probably, a lot of their bigger settlements are underwater now because they seem to like to hang out near the water. So these are the Pillars of Hercules, the most famous gatekeepers really in antiquity, at least in Europe. So 43. So I think, yeah, 40. I guess I'll start with Gibraltar, sharp of anger, revealer guardian. So I guess that's all it says about Gibraltar. It's sharp of anger, revealer guardian. So I think revealer guardian might mean that it's a guardian between two large seas. So it's like once you pass it, you not only get to go to the other side, but it reveals like a whole new sea, like either the whole Mediterranean or the whole Atlantic, whichever way you're going. And then the other pillar of Hercules, Almina, which is the one in Morocco but owned by Spain, controlled by Spain. The southern pillar is repel the terrible ones from the earth gods. So I think that means repel the storms of the Atlantic Ocean from the earth gods, like the islands and peninsulas and the land of the Mediterranean. Protect the Great One. So I think the Great One is Osiris, who is Afro-Eurasia. Part the two warriors in 603 storms. So that's probably Seth, the storm god, and Horus, who I'm not sure what he signifies in that situation. Somehow the protector of the land. So So 1142, I already went over it last time, but it's just Greece here. And I kind of sped through it last time because I knew the phone was about to cut me off. But let's see if I can find, figure out some of it. So this is addressed to Greece, including Thrace. She whose name was presented in the midst of her fire. They, the miserable ones, guard his house and her fire. So the miserable ones could be all the little islands, or all the things that, like these things that kind of guard Greece. So this is the image of Greece from, from here. And Greece is arguably the most detailed of all of these. It's hard to say. I guess the Malay Peninsula is pretty detailed too. But I would say between the two of them, they're probably the most detailed. And arguably Greece is the most detailed because it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these things on it, and maybe 6 here. And these correspond to, like this one up here is Corfu, this island, long island along the coast. This one seems to be Kefalonia, maybe in tandem with Lefkada and Ithaca here. And this one seems to be Zakynthos right there. This big one is this big peninsula, Chalkidiki. And then this other somewhat big one is this peninsula here, Gallipoli. Along with Istanbul on the tip here, they're the two main land routes, basically from Asia to Europe or Europe to Asia. And this thing on the tip here, it may refer to the fact that there's some big inlets on the side of Istanbul here, so it may mean that Istanbul is almost like its own peninsula in that sense, that it's surrounded by all this water. And then this is Peloponnese Peninsula and Corinth Isthmus, which apparently I've been saying isthmus wrong because I thought you had to pronounce the th like isthmus, but apparently not. It's just isthmus. And then this is the Çatalca Peninsula, Black Sea coast here, Marmara Sea, the Bosphorus Strait, and this strait is called the Dardanelles Strait or something like that. So anyway, it's pretty detailed, other than the fact that the Peloponnese is shaped weird. I don't think this is a very accurate shape of Peloponnese Peninsula, but other than that, it's pretty accurate. And of course, they bent it around to make it fit, I think. They know that this is way apart from this, but it's standard in these type of things that coastlines will be bent one way or another just for the sake of how to show them best, but it doesn't mean that's the actual shape of the peninsula. Like they did that with, there's some bays where they make the bay seem larger, like they make the Gulf of Mexico and a lot of these ancient maps seem larger, but it's just like a stylized way to represent it. All right, so I think that all these things, like all these aforementioned islands and peninsulas, may be those miserable ones. She whose name was presented in the midst of her fire. They, the miserable ones, guard his house and her fire. So I'm not sure who she is. I'm guessing not Athena, but who knows? Beware, O earth gods of the boat. Stand, protect. Re, Atum, Nun, Old One, Shu, Iku, Nemu, and Hetep. So Re is the sun, especially at noon. Atum is the sun, especially at midnight or at night. Nun is the sea. Old One, not sure. Shu is related to air. Iku and Nemu, I'm not really sure. They're more obscure. Hetep means offerings, I think. The woman has opposed the sick one. So the sick one might be Seth, the storm god. So she opposes, Greece helps keep out the storms. With all these different peninsulas, it helps break up the storms and the waves and stuff. They whose names were presented made her walls. So it could be that, let's see, Re Atum Nun Old. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Maybe that some of these are even associated with those specific islands. I don't know. They whose names were presented made her walls. I am the one whom Re built, whom Shu built. Ma'at belongs to this God who is in the midst of flame, who has not placed the just ones in himself, with another command which went forth from his mouth on the day of protecting. His soul which you have commanded has protected me. He has driven off from them, from these your wounds, while the underlings are worms upon you. I am Ma'at who is in the nail. If you come opposing me, then the terrible one will be expelled from the earth god, and the sharp one from the aggressor, until I retreat going and coming. So I'm not sure if this sharp one is referencing the Rock of Gibraltar or not, or if it's a separate sharp one or whatever. So a lot of this definitely can be seen as relating to, these type of achs, like blocking the sea, blocking the waves, because Greece has so many, sticks out in so many directions and blocks so many waves and storms. So that's 42. What the F? This is 11:45. This is okay. So this is I don't know what's going on. I think this is somehow. So this is Britain, and this is confusing. I don't know what happened. 42. Yeah, I don't know what happened. It's supposed to have the pillars of Hercules between these two. 42. Oh yeah, so 42 is that. So then yeah, 43 should be Almina. So I don't know where the F43 went. Am I tripping? Okay, here's 43. Okay. Well, I guess I already did it, right? So I did 43. Repel the terrible ones. And then uh, All right. Well, I think like the only other one I was gonna go over more, I think my phone is cutting me off, but I was just gonna look at 1140, which is Sicily. So the use of horn. The bull is pictured probably explains the use of horn. So this is to Sicily and Italy's toe, and potentially to Majorca, Sardinia, and Crete, and Cyprus, and Corsica. He is in the midst of darkness. It is his horn which gives darkness, illness, and death. This is what is in that which is upon it at the great flaming doors. Opener of mouth in darkness is his name. O Re Atum, noon, old one, and divine Isis, I have come here in fear. O fiery ones, I am the powerful one, who went forth from the vultures in the daytime. My head is Rager, whose horns have been cut off in darkness. The slayer is your arm, according as it cuts off the head of the one who comes that he may oppose as God. It is I whom the goddess, the mistress, has borne. It is Amnesty who purifies me when the hand of the destroyer of my power rages. All right, so hard to glean very much from that, but seems to be about Sicily, which is the biggest gatekeeper in the Mediterranean, I think. And or basically on par with Greece, because here's Sicily and here's, I guess maybe Greece is the biggest one, but Sicily is the second biggest one with the Italian toe. And these guys. All right, I'll leave it there, but there you have it.